Hi Flosstube, I hope all's well. My name is Kirsty, Crafting Kirsty here on YouTube and on Instagram. This is a video all about cross stitching and what I have and haven't been up to. It's Wednesday 23rd of February and this is Flosstube number 13. So what have we been doing in the last 4 or 5 weeks since I filmed? Not a lot. We've been pootling along as usual. We did have a weekend away last weekend. And we actually ended up going to Cardiff Castle. We did a tour and we paid extra for a tour of some private rooms that you don't see if you haven't paid the extra and gone on a guided tour. And they were fantastic. They were really, really worth the money. They were just absolutely stunning rooms. And the tour guide was really, really knowledgeable, told you all about it, just unbelievably ornamental and just, yeah, mind-boggling, but really, really good. So if you ever get round to Cardiff, excuse the squeaky chair, if you ever get round to Cardiff Castle, pay the extra for the guided tour because it really is worth it. And I know my son has passed his driving test, so that's now all 3 children independent and driving, which is great for me. I'm not so sure it's good for the other road users, but there we go, they've passed, they're licensed. And he actually has also just returned from a week's school trip to Greece. It had been postponed since 2020 for obvious reasons, but they finally got out there, really enjoyed it. It was really well done, so fair play to the school for persevering and yeah, managing to get them there. Other than that, yeah, we haven't really done anything. So what have I been stitching, or what have I been stitching on? I think my last Flosstube I filmed in the middle of January, and I'd been out of my rotation up until that point because it was Christmas. I had a whole load of new starts, and yeah, I slotted back into my rotation in January, but I have had a bit of a hit and miss month with it. I think you get all the whip parades at the end of December, beginning of January, which were absolutely fantastic. And then you get a complete flurry on Instagram of everyone posting first finish for 2022. I was like, yay, that's great, that looks great, that was great. And in the back of your mind thinking, oh, I wonder what I'll finish. And I've basically spent the month chasing a finish, being frustrated at every turn, and basically had a little bit of a hissy fit towards the end of the sort of 4 weeks. And I hadn't actually stitched for about 4 days. I have also started a knitting project, which, yeah, has taken up a bit of time. But I have stitched some stuff. So, what did I first pull out? I first pulled out, Sunday meeting. This is Diane Graebner. I'm sorry, I don't know how you pronounce it. And I think the last time you saw this, I had done all of the people, and I think possibly the outline of one of the, yeah, I had done, oh, I don't know. I'd basically done a whole load of people, and I'd done some of this background work. So I picked it up and I worked on it for 5 nights. And I'm now, this is getting quite large, I'm going to have to lean back again. So I've now managed to put in all of this scene here at the back, which when you actually pull this colour out, it really doesn't look right, but when you actually stitch on it, hold it back, it looks a lot better. Finished the people, put the geese in, outlined 2 of the wagons, did the horse, camel. I think, look at the legs on it. That's not going to go anywhere fast. And yeah, I sort of got all this outlining done. I think I'm never going to get this finished. I've still got another wagon to do. And it hadn't really occurred to me, I don't know why I hadn't thought it through, it hadn't really occurred to me that also all of this is filled in. So that's a lot of filling, which is absolutely fine. I don't mind filling, but I was a bit sort of like, oh, right, okay. I'm going to put this away for the moment then. But I think possibly a week, 2 weeks more work, and this will be finished. I absolutely love this piece. I do enjoy stitching on it. And whilst I'm not on a no-buy year at all, I am trying to steady up a bit with my purchasing. And but I know that when I finish this one, I am going to treat myself to at least another chart by her, because I really, really like them. So that's as far as I got with that one. So then I picked up Sleepy Hollow from the Cricket collection, and I have done that piece, and I've done all this middle section, and I knew I was coming back to the third section, and the last time I stitched on this, I worked out that I was going to run out of fabric. And I think, and this is top stars, and you come to the front of the class for Alison of the Stitching Whippet and Kelly the dog-eared stitcher, who when I posted on Instagram, I can't remember what I was going to do, they both sort of said, I think you were going to fudge this tree, but go back and watch your video, which obviously I didn't do. So I was going to fudge this tree and move everything in a bit and all the rest of it. So I picked it back up, and there's a line that runs the whole way across this entire piece. And I thought, well, I'll just take that line out as far as I can take it, which will then definitely tell me how short my fabric is going to be. And then I'll work out what I'm going to do. So I took the line out as far as I can go, and it fits. And I don't know, excuse me, I don't know how this has happened. Right, so I'm gonna have to do two bits. So these were the two pieces that I'd done. And then from that black tree onwards is the bit that I was gonna have to fudge. So you can see there's, next to the black tree, there's that purple blob. That is obviously the tree that I'd started and had moved across. But I thought, well, I'll take this middle line all the way along to see where I go. And when I realised it was going to fit, I thought, well, I'll work from the house backwards, because it's far easier to fudge a tree than it is to try and fudge a symmetrical house, basically. So this time, I'm going to fold this in half. So this time I had it out. I basically have taken the line across, as I said, and I've done all the house, done all the fiddly bits of the house, so what's left is filling. I did have a post moaning about the size of this roof. Really? Why do it have to be so big? But anyway, that will get filled in. And then I think I will should probably be able to take this tree out, the purple tree out, and actually stitch it where it's supposed to be stitched. So I have no idea how that's happened. I don't know how I miscounted. I don't know if little elves have come in the middle of the night and stretched my fabric for me, or what happened. I did have... Kelly did message me going, have you worked it out yet? Nope, I'm just going to keep going and fudge it when I need to. So, yet again, that was another piece in the back of my mind that I thought, oh, maybe I could get that finished. Nowhere near. That's going to be, again, a lot of that is filling. And then I think I've only got the tree and some pumpkins, and then I'm done. But that is a lot of filling. But you never know, maybe a week and a half, and I'll get that finished. So by this point, having spent 2 weeks watching everyone else post their finishes, I was going, oh, what am I going to pull out next? So I decided to pull out apple, or Pomme Cidre from, I say Nimue, I'm sure that's wrong. Now this was a restart for me a while ago. I'd started it on 25 count over 1, because I just thought it would be really cool, really, really small. And it was just, I was struggling with it too much. The chart isn't the best. It's quite yellowed paper. It's not hand-drawn, but it really does look hand-drawn, and I've had to enlarge it, photocopy it, enlarge it, and sort it all out, because it just ended up making my eyes go a bit spirally. So I restarted it, and I think this is either 28 count or 25 count. I've done it over 2. Also, all these colours in here are so similar, and it is full coverage, essentially, that I was really struggling to see where I'd been and what that colour was supposed to be, because it looks so similar to the colour next door to it. So I restarted on this, I think I'm going to say 28 count, restarted 28 count over 2, started highlighting my photocopy of the chart, and got quite away with it. And I think I got those 2 people done and sort of this section done. So I picked it up, and I thought, if I don't get on with this, it's being ditched. I've had enough of it. It's been hanging around for too long. I picked it up and I got on absolutely fantastically with it. I can't believe how much I've got done. So now that is looking a bit darker. The colours are a lot brighter, is the wrong word, I think probably stronger. So I've got all of this done, and probably if I'd have pushed for a finished and done another sort of 2 or 3 nights, I'd have got it finished. But for some reason, I've had enough now, I'm going to put it down. So I put it down. But next time I pick this up, fairly confident to say that it will be a finish, but I'm really loving it, and I love the detail in the apple. I just think it's fantastic. So yeah, so I'm really pleased with that. So hopefully one more week and that will be done. And then I picked up, you have to excuse the scruffiness of this chart, I'm afraid. I picked up the March month of the Waxing Moon Designs monthly samplers. I've gone from October through until March. Excuse me. These are on Etsy, PDF. Fantastic charts. I absolutely love them once I've got them finished and on display. Absolutely, I'm so pleased that I've done them. But they actually take quite a lot of stitching. They take quite a long time. There's a lot of fill-in. But there we go. So I picked this one up thinking I really need to get this finished sooner rather than later, because obviously it's March and we're getting towards the end of February now. And I managed to, I can't remember, I think I was sort of somewhere near this cloud. So I filled these in. I've got to the top and put the kites in, and I've now run out of the white thread and the green thread, which are the only two colours that I need left, or that I have left to stitch with. So when I next put an order in, I will obviously put those in and get this finished off. But again, you know, love it now. It's 3/4 done. It just takes quite a lot of doing. So at that point, because I hadn't had a finish, but I had quite a few things to fully finish. And I decided at the beginning of this year, I was going to do my sort of 5 nights on each big piece. And at the weekends, I wanted to do some smalls. And I think I said I was going to do Christmas smalls. I haven't. I decided to go for Valentine's Day smalls. We don't celebrate Valentine's Day here at all. I did read someone put in a post that they'd swapped cards in the card section of the supermarket and then put them back on the shelves. We don't even do that. But I thought it would be quite nice just to have a little Valentine's display. So I made some smalls. My little tray over here, hibiscus. So the first 3 I made came from, I downloaded this off Etsy, Country Rustic Primitives, which Primitive Designs by Jenny Hoffman, Primitive Valentine Heart Pinkeeps, set of 3. So that is what you see when you go onto Etsy. And I just used scraps of fabric, so I have no idea what they are. And so that was the first one. Second one. And the third one. So they look a bit better when they're stuck in the bowl together. I knew I wanted primitive. I keep on trying to get some primitive pillows, and I always end up missing the mark wildly. I pulled this, I went to Hobbycraft because I had to pick up a couple of other things, and I pulled this thread out, and it came, rather than being in a skein, it came on a ball, a bit like a sort of a ball of wool. And when I got it home, I realised it's exactly the same thread that I'm using in another one of my projects. I obviously like this variegated red thread, but I do quite like it. I think it works very well. So this one, I was finished into a pillow, and I tried to do the crosses down the side. Oh, they're shocking. They're shocking. We have no pride here. I don't care, you can see it all. So there we go. So that's that one. So I don't like doing those finishes on the edge. I think this one, I think I just folded the fabric over, so I only had to sew up 3 sides, which is how it's ended up a bit scruffy. I don't know quite how I managed it. But once it's in with other things and things filling around it, it looks absolutely fine. And then the last one, which appears to have legs, this one. And this one, by this one, I just stitched it up. There we go. That's that done. So I did all 3 of these. I stitched all 3 of these in one weekend, and then I finished them all in one night. And they look absolutely great in the bowl. I do like them, if slightly dubious. The other small that I made, I picked out. I did this. So this little pillow, and this couple come from the February Wordplay by Brenda Gervais. So I looked, because I was thinking, oh, what else can I do? And so I thought, I wonder what else I've got. And look, there they are. So I thought, well, they'll look quite sweet. Who doesn't like a man in pantaloons or bloomers or whatever they are? So yeah, I didn't use the correct colours, but I stuck as true to the chart as I could. And this is just very simply finished and stitched up at the bottom. But in future, for my pillows, because another one I did, so I made, well, I'll show this in a different show, sorry. I also made this little felt red heart with the blanket stitch around the edge of it, which I think looks quite primitive. And it was so easy. And I thought, oh, why don't I do this with my pillows? I quite like the blanket stitch. I like the effect it gives. So the next pillows I make, I am going to do the stitching, cut out the shapes, stitch the blanket stitch all the way around till you get to the end, leave enough to stuff it. It doesn't even have to be hugely stuffed. Leave enough to stuff it, and then you can use the blanket stitch and you've got a nice tidy edge. So that's what I'm going to try with my next pillows, because I will be doing some more starting this spring and Easter. So yes, so those are my smalls. So, oh yeah, so that's my smalls, sorry. Oh, I've messed up my my artistic arrangement now. Doesn't look like it did. It's nearly time for it to come down anyway. I also finished the January wordplay. I didn't finish this until February, so this never saw the light of day. This will make its appearance next year. Very, very simple. Pins in the side, bit of brushed cotton on the back with a few odd bits of stray thread. I finished that. And I also finished my February one, and this has been out on display. So I put it back a bit so you can see. So yeah, I love them when they're done, and I love having them on display, and people always comment on them. But I think I said I was going to do one a month. That's not going to happen. So I think, so I'm just looking at my notes. What have I done? Yeah, I think that's all the stitching that I did. That's all the fully finished. Well, I say that's all. It's all the fully finishing, and that was all the planned stitching. Now, in the back of my mind, I've had Antrim's Folly, wondering what to do about this, because in my last episode, I started it just in the new year, and I was doing it, stitching it 2/2 on 27 count. But in the chart, it's charted as 1/1. So then you get quite a lot of speciality stitches in here, and I got stuck with a speciality stitch that went around this black block here, which was charted as you go up 2 and you go across 4. So I could do the stitch, no problem. I just didn't know how to size it because it's charted 1/1 and I was doing it 2/2. Did I double the size of the stitch? So I tried doing that when I started it, and it was okay, but I couldn't quite get it to be the right size for the different colours inside of it. And I asked everyone for their advice, and I'll be quite honest with you, you were all useless. I think 2 people responded and commented on it and gave me polar opposite answers. So one lady, I think it was Leah, is it Ava Trick Stitcher or Leah Noel? Oh, sorry, I should have looked. She said, oh, my worry would be that if you're increasing the size of the stitches, will you then have things that are out of place or taking up too much space? That was a thought I had and then lost. It was rattling around in the back of my brain, and I knew there was something, and I just couldn't quite remember what it was that I'd also wondered about. And that was it. And so, of course, that then didn't set me off in a panic, but then I thought, oh, God, I wonder if that is going to happen. It's going to change the placement of things. And then Kerry and Stitches said, yeah, I'd do what you're doing, which is doubling it. So as I hadn't really got anywhere, I thought, well, I'm going to message Stacey, the 911 stitcher, because she's the only other person I know who is actively stitching this chart at the moment. So I messaged her and said, oh, you know, what are you doing about your speciality stitches? And explained my dilemma. And she basically came back and saying that she hadn't got very far because of the speciality stitches and, you know, blah, blah, blah. But she had contacted Theresa Baird, the designer. Baird, not Baird. Sorry, Theresa Baird. And she'd been really friendly and, you know, was quite happy to help. So Stacey gave me Theresa's email address. So I left it for a couple of days because I thought, a bit much really. And then I thought, well, she can always ignore the email. At the end of the day, if she doesn't want to get involved, she can just ignore it. So I emailed her, and within 24 hours, I got such a lovely, friendly, kind response. She was absolutely fantastic. And I explained my dilemma of the over 2, do I double the stitches and all the rest of it? And basically her answer was no, you don't. So you stitch the speciality stitches in the sizes that they're called for, even though you're stitching it over 2, not over 1. But she did bring up the possibility that some of the speciality stitches either wouldn't work with 2 threads or would look really messy with 2 threads. And then she put, oh, in a couple of days' time when I'm less busy, I'll try stitching a couple of the ones that I'm worried about to see how they work out and let you know. And I thought, you don't have to do that at all. You've got far better things to do, I'm sure. But what it did do is it did give me the kick up the bottom. I decided that I would try stitching it 1 over 1. I don't have an issue with 1 over 1, and I've got a few of my bigger projects are on 25 count 1 over 1. Where I struggle, or where I find it harder, is when you have big blocks of colours, and there are quite a lot of big blocks of colour here. I then struggle a bit. I find that quite hard work stitching 1 over 1, just because I start to lose my placement of where the holes are, particularly with the darker colours. That's one of the reasons that it put me off. Plus, to my mind, this is quite a big sampler, and I really want this to be a big sampler. But I thought, well, I'll give it a try. So I picked out some 25 count. Just 25 count Lugano, excuse the thread. And I started off again, so I did the satin stitches at the bottom. And then I worked this closed herringbone stitch, which is the black thread. So I worked it along the bottom, went round the corner. And whilst I don't think I'm going around the corner in quite the correct manner, I do get round the corner. And it is a corner. But I've ripped this back 2, 3, 4 times now. I just can't. You can't see them here, but there's some yellow stitches here and they're supposed to line flush. So I ripped it back the first time because I realised I didn't have the right spacing in here. Stitched the yellow stitches in to give myself a guide. And I can't get it to land, to come across the top so that it has the basically 19 holes I need in between there. So I've tried it 3 or 4 times and I think it's getting about 10:30 at night. I just had enough of this. So I've taken the decision that I'm going to go back to my 27 count 2 over 2, and I'm basically going to stitch it in cross stitch, because it does say at the very beginning of the chart there's a lot of speciality stitches. If you don't want to do them, it can all be stitched in cross stitch. So that's what I'm going to do. I mean, I like the satin stitches. I'll leave those and do them at the top. If there are other cross stitches that I come across that I can, or speciality stitches that I can fit in, I will do. But, you know, this is now the second time I've restarted it. I've got no further than the first time. I'm going to pull my hair out a bit with it. Plus, there is a slight size difference. Now, see if I can hold these two up together. Can I see what you'll see? So this one is 25 count over 1, and this is 27 count 2 over 2. And I would like this sampler to be the size that my 27 count 2 over 2 is. This to me is my best ever sampler, dog's bollock sampler, whatever you want to call it. And I am going to personalise it. I am going to put county I was born in. I will keep her name in, and I will personalise it and put in the back, you know, how I've changed it and why I've changed it. And I almost want it like a self-portrait, whacked in the middle of the wall so everyone can see it. And I think this in the middle of the wall, you might need some binoculars to see it. And I just really, really want it to be a large statement piece, and I'm quite happy for it to be a large statement piece. So yeah, so all of that to say, I got the directions from the horse's mouth, thankfully. She was absolutely lovely, but I am going to go back to 2 over 2 and just do it as cross stitch and bung some speciality stitches in if I can work out how they go. You'll have to excuse the fact that's not ironed. So that took up 24, 36 hours of my stitching time. But I have now made a decision and I'm quite looking forward to getting on stitching that. I'll move on to purchases next. I haven't got many purchases. The first one I bought was completely influenced by a lady on Instagram, and I can't remember her name, I'm sorry, I should have written it down at the time. But it was one of those, you saw it, or I saw it, and I just stopped everything and went and bought it. And that was, she had finished and had framed Good Company from the Scarlet House. And it says, she lives on a hill overlooking the sea with only her dogs for good company. She doesn't need less, she doesn't need more than to hear the waves crash into the shore. Now, this and this is me. So to my mind, this is companion sampler to this. I know it's completely different designer, blah, 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 blah. These two will be sitting, well, side by side, wherever. But these two, as far as I'm concerned, are me to a T. I like the countryside, I like all the animals, I like the beach. And I like the sea, and I like the shore. Less so much the beach, I like it more in winter, you know, when you've got a lot of waves and things. You won't find me stitching a sampler about ode to city life. You know, I'm not into the noise, the vomit by the front door from the night before, the wailing sirens, the foxes screaming at each other in the middle of the night. Won't be stitching one of those, but these two are just my samplers. Absolutely love them. And if John came home tomorrow or today and said we're moving to the beach, fab, quite happy with that. And if he says we're staying here, fab, quite happy with that. If he says we're moving to the city, on your own. So that was the first purchase. The second purchase, just because one chart can't travel alone. And I was looking for Brenda Gervais charts at the time, and I found this Autumn's Fruitful Labour. This says, when the year from fruitful labour turns to rest, founts of warmth and comfort in my being flow. Possibly won't be putting that in. Possibly as in I won't be putting that in. I will just move that border up. But it's got pumpkins in it. So need I say any more? So I've got both those charts from Fobbles. F-O-B-B-L-E-S. Online store. Really quick delivery. Yeah, first time I've ever used them. Lots of nice charts. All good. So those are my two purchases. And then finally, I'm going to go into plans. I don't really know what I'm going to do. Yeah, my plans are, I have no idea. Whether I keep chasing a finish on one of those first 3 projects that I showed, I don't know. Whether I pick up another 4 of my whips and just keep on working, I don't know. Whether I get heavily involved in my Antrims Folly and just do that for the month, I don't know. I will see what I feel like picking up as and when I decide to pick it up. But I do want to keep doing the smalls at the weekend. They're working out really well, really enjoying it. Love the fact that I've got something to display. So I had a quick look through my drawer of spring and Easter patterns. And sorry, I found Basket of Eggs by Shakespeare's Peddler. This is only 60 by 60, I think. So I will get this done one weekend. This I won as a giveaway from Annie, the Proper Stitcher. So I won this off her channel. So I plan on doing that one. I have found my Plum Street Samplers Hares Hunt. I absolutely love the whole series of these. I am intending on getting them all and working my way through them. And whilst this is bigger, it's block stitching, quite a lot of empty space, so I probably won't get it done in one weekend, but I am going to do it, I think. Start it and hopefully get it finished within a month. These charts I've picked up, I don't think I'll be doing them in a week, this week, you know, over the weekends, because they're just that little bit too big. So, but I thought I'd show them anyway. So the first one is Welcome Spring from Brenda Gervais. one of these days. I've got a holiday hoopla Easter. Brenda Gervais. The thing is with these charts, they always look small and they always look very cute, but there is always a big block of stitching. I'm not being caught out twice by this lady. I'm going to get done in a weekend. And basket full of springtime. So all really pretty charts. I will get them done at some point, but they're not small, weekend smalls. So I have seen, obviously, some on Etsy, you know, the old PDF immediate gratification. So I will download a couple of those. Yeah, and do the hare's hunt in the basket full of eggs. And I think that is all. That is all apart from, I am slightly annoyed with myself because obviously I pulled out my Sleepy Hollow from my bag, which I made from a cross-stitch chart that I no longer liked. And I've never been anti-project bags. I've never bought any because I can make them myself, but I'm just a bit too lazy to make them. And so everything tends to live in plastic bags like that, which, you know, that's fine, that'll do. But oh, it is nice. It is nice to have a project bag and a zip that works fantastically. And I'm sitting there using it thinking, I might have to make myself some project bags. And I do have quite a bit of fabric. So I could do. So, you know, giving myself another job, because we all need that, don't we? So other than that, yeah, I think that's it really. Turn over my page, check my notes. That's the lot. 31 minutes. So if you've made it this, I've done it again. Hello to all my new subscribers. I have had a small trickle. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for subscribing, and I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I hope you come back for more. And as always, hello to the regulars. Thank you very much for stopping by. I really need to write that in my notes to do it at the beginning. It's pointless doing it at this point of the video, but I always forget. It's very rude of me. Anyway, thank you very much for making it this far into the video. I will be recording a quilty tube and a crafty tube hopefully within the next week, because that will help me get a bit organised as well. I'm feeling a little bit, certainly quilting wise, a little bit overwhelmed with the amount of projects I seem to have started and stashed away in various areas, and I think I need to get them all out and organise how I'm actually going to work my way through them this year. I've done quite a few crafty things, so hopefully that'll be a good video to watch. And other than that, I'm now running out of things to say, so I will be back hopefully in a month's time. Oh, I've got a quilt show to go to, and I am being a hooker for the day, becoming a hooker. John's sending me out to work. That joke will never go old, and I will use it a few more times. My friend and I are going on a day's rug hooking course down in Bedfordshire somewhere. So that'll be very interesting. I've never done that before. She decided she wanted to, well, she was always talking about she wanted to have a craft to do. And I said, yeah, what about cross stitch, quilting? So, you know, no, I want to do rug hooking. Where did you get that from? Okay, let's go and give it a go. So that'll be quite interesting to see. And I don't know if my next video will be before or after the Essex Needle Stitchers retreat, or it could be the Essex Stitchers Needle retreat. One or other, I'm going to cross stitch retreat. Sorry. Only going for the day. Really, really looking forward to it. Can't wait. You know, I have all these. I will take a project with me. Whether I even bother taking it out of the car, I don't know, because all I ever hear is you never stitch anything. You spend the whole time talking. Fab. So that really is the end now. Thank you very much for watching this far. Please do like, subscribe, leave me a comment. I love having comments. That's half the reason, or it's actually 3/4 of the reason why I started doing Flosstubes, is to make stitchy friends and, you know, chat away to people. And I do get notifications when my comments come up, and I always have to go, oh, play it cool, because otherwise I'll answer straight away. I go, no, leave it at least for 24 hours. Don't be too needy. So please do leave me a comment. I do like receiving them. Take care, have a good month, and I'll see you later. Bye.